Hey everyone, I'm James Wynn with AirReps. Today in our Clean Air series, we're going to discuss how we can use conned air to control indoor relative humidity, to mitigate virus transfer, and to put our immune systems in the optimal condition to keep us safe. First, we'll discuss how viruses and our immune system are impacted when the indoor relative humidity is kept between 40 and 60%. Next, we'll talk about what happens when humidity levels fall below that optimal range so we can get a better understanding of why this is so important. Many of us spend the majority of our workdays in office space and in close proximity to others, and this presents a risk of infection from cold and flu viruses. During the winter, our risk of infection actually goes up, partly because the ventilation air from outside can be at lower relative humidity. Low humidity in office spaces contributes to illness and productivity losses in the billions every year. So what happens in our indoor spaces when we keep relative humidity optimized? When an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes, thousands of droplets are sent into the air in a vast array of sizes. These droplets come together to form an aerosol, which is a mixture of solids, gases, and water vapor. These aerosols expelled from a sick individual are loaded with viruses and bacteria that are embedded in watery mucus and dissolved salts. When these droplets leave our airways, they're exposed to much drier room air, which causes the droplets to shrink to less than half their size as they give up much of their moisture content. This water loss causes the droplets to lose roughly 90% of their weight and increases their salt concentrations dramatically. If the room air relative humidity is in the optimum range for human well-being, the salt concentration rises to a level where most of the viruses cannot survive and become deactivated. This dramatically decreases the risk of infection. The humidity range of 40 to 60% allows the aerosols to keep just enough of their moisture, making them heavy enough to fall out of the air, sticking to surfaces in our spaces. The bonding forces between the water content of the wet aerosols keeps the viruses attached to surfaces they land on, which prevents them from being swept back up into the air. This lowers the chance that we'll breathe in an infected aerosol. If we do breathe in some virus particles, the membranes in our airways are designed to protect us from infection by trapping them. In ideal humidity conditions, our cilia have the moisture they need to move freely, which is how they transport trapped viruses into our larynx, where they can be either removed by a cough or swallowed and rendered harmless. If we allow the relative humidity levels to fall below 40%, things start to look very different. With humidity levels below optimal conditions, the dissolved salts crystallize out because the dry air causes their droplets to lose even more of the moisture content. Once the salts are crystallized, they are no longer harmful to the viruses and will actually help them stay active and infectious for longer. This additional loss of water increases the virus concentration as the droplets become a dry aerosol. This dramatically increases our risk of an infection. These dry aerosols are also lighter, and this means they will stay in the air longer and can be swept back into the air off of surfaces, leading to higher infection rates. If we breathe in these dry aerosols, the moisture in our respiratory systems redissolves the crystalline salts, which releases the active virus into our mucous membranes. This is further complicated because that same dry air dries out our cilia, which inhibits their movement. This inability to move stops the pathogen evacuation process, leaving them in our system longer and leading to greater infection rates. AirReps and conned air are here to help you provide optimized humidity levels for your next project. Conned air's product offerings are perfect for retrofitting existing spaces and incorporating them in new designs. AirReps and conned air can help you ensure that all your customers have the safest indoor air possible.